Hey everyone, it is Dani and welcome to this update video. I trust and hope that you're doing great, and we're going to be taking a look at what is going on across the Caribbean. So there you can see that there is a lot of activity over in the western part of the basin in association with a front as well as an area of low pressure invest 97L. So that disturbance is going to be resulting in very dangerous conditions across portions of Central America as flooding and even mudslides could be unleashed across these areas due to the expected heavy rains with all the activity coming in, because some of these areas have already experienced a lot of flooding and it will be continuing, potentially worsening for some spots. So we'll be talking about that. And there we can see that front extended from the Caribbean out into the Atlantic, and there's some activity out there associated with a couple of troughs moving around. Let us zoom in, and here we can see it. So we can see all this convection associated with the disturbance really popping up, and it is moving toward the west. So especially Honduras, the Bay Islands of Honduras will be in for a lot more rainfall as we head through today and through the weekend on a whole. But as we look over into the east, we're not seeing that there is as much activity, but especially for southeastern islands, there could be quite a bit of rainfall in some spots as we head throughout today. Up into the Bahamas again with that front, there is some activity ahead of the boundary. There are these cooler temperatures, especially in those more elevated areas. And for the Cayman Islands, a bit of activities in the area as well. Going to the southern Bahamas, Turks and Caicos Islands, Hispaniola, Puerto Rico, we're not seeing where there's anything too crazy happening, and there will be improved conditions across Jamaica today. Some areas experienced a lot of heavy rain, some areas did not experience much at all. And also for some of us, it has been very gloomy recently, but that sunshine should be returning for most parishes through today. Now let's go ahead and talk about the rainfall activity expected. We're looking at what the Euro is showing as we head through today and into the very early morning hours of tomorrow. And where we see more of those shades of reds going to those burgundies, purples, and even those pinks, that is a lot of heavy rainfall which is expected. So we're seeing that mostly over in some spots in Central America for Honduras, and even the easternmost side of Guatemala right there. Those areas could experience a lot of heavy rainfall, potentially in excess of around 5 to 6 inches across some areas. And then the Bay Islands of Honduras and the Keys of Belize, a lot of heavy rainfall also expected for you guys, and even inland of Belize and other sections of Central America, portions of Mexico, Guatemala, other sections of Belize going down to Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama. There could be some substantial rainfall, a lot of heavy downpours, and that may trigger flooding in other areas. Even for the islands of San Andres and Providencia, there could be some increase in rainfall activity as we head through today. Now looking down to northern South America, go into Colombia, Venezuela, and even for the Guyanas, there could be some heavy downpours at times, not guaranteed for everywhere. ABC Islands, similar stories, some showers moving through at times. Go into Trinidad, Tobago, and especially Tobago, there could be some rainfall activity as we head through today. Even some rainfall this morning. You can let me know in the comments what's been happening for you. Heading toward Grenada, the southern Grenadines, there is a higher chance that you guys could experience some heavy downpours, but there is still a pretty decent chance as we head toward the northern Grenadines, going to St. Vincent, St. Lucia, and even for Barbados. Heading further up north, Martinique, Dominica, parts of Guadeloupe, Antigua and Barbuda, Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, Saba, St. Eustatius, Anguilla, St. Martin, St. Barthélemy. There is not that high of a rainfall chance, but there could be some occasional showers moving through. As we saw earlier, there's some activity coming in from the east. The Virgin Islands could be on the drier side as we head through today, but there's still a chance that some showers could be passing by. Some showers possible across some spots in Puerto Rico, Hispaniola, and then as we head to the southern Bahamas and even the Turks and Caicos Islands, sections of Cuba, and then for Jamaica, for most areas, there's not going to be a whole lot of activity as we head through today, but there's still that chance of some heavy downpours across some spots. And then Cayman Islands, going into parts of central Cuba and the central Bahamas, there could be some heavy rain ahead of that frontal boundary. And then as it relates to the winds, it's going to be pretty gusty across some areas, especially the northern Bahamas, and even for portions of Florida going toward the Keys, Cuba, and even for the Cayman Islands, those gusty winds coming out of the northeast up to 30 knots. And then for the rest of the Caribbean islands, it will be pretty breezy for some of us as well, with winds between around 12 going to around 20, 22 knots thereabout. And so guys, going back to the disturbance, we're seeing that there is that 20% chance of formation as it is going to be moving in this weekend. I'm not expecting that it is going to develop. Yes, it is producing a lot of rainfall activity, and I've spoken about this in many previous videos way before, that it does not take a tropical cyclone to result in dangerous conditions, because we're seeing here that even though the disturbance in and of itself is not a tropical cyclone, it has not developed, it could produce tropical storm-like conditions where there could be these areas of deep convection popping up. And by the way, as we see these clouds go into that shade of black and then that gray with the purples and those white dots, they indicate lightning strikes. So when we're seeing that, that is where a lot of activity is taking place, a lot of heavy rainfall, those gusty winds as well associated with those bursts of convection. So this has the potential to produce tropical storm-like conditions. But the main concern is going to be that expected heavy downpour, because some areas have already experienced flooding and it's only going to get worse. So it's going to be a very dangerous situation, especially for portions of Belize, the Keys of Belize going to the Bay Islands of Honduras, and portions of Honduras and the easternmost section of Guatemala. Even across other areas in Central America, there could be some periods of flooding and even those mudslides in those hillier areas. So guys, please stay safe as this system makes its way in. It's going to be a very wet weekend, and do not take any unnecessary risks. And so that is what is going on with the disturbance. It has a very low chance of development. I mean, it is going to be moving inland in the coming few days, and that formation chance remains pretty low at 20%. So let's see if it will decide to surprise any of us, but it has a very small window of opportunity, which is closing up in terms of it actually developing into a tropical cyclone. But that really does not matter at this point. Why? Because we already see all of this associated with it that is going to be making its way in, unleashing very dangerous conditions across Central America. And the next name on the list remains at Vince. So Vince has not yet been used for this season, and I think that there is still a pretty good shot that we could see something else try to form and acquire that name. However, with the most recent disturbances, including 97L with the last 3 disturbances, we have not seen them actually manage to make it to tropical cyclone status. But it's not over until it is over, guys, and I would not rule out seeing something in December either, especially with these anomalously warm waters across the Caribbean. So that's it for now. I'll keep you posted, and if you have any questions, please do leave them in the comments. I'll respond when I get the chance to do so, and remember to always be weatherwise.